Oh, the extremes are becoming more extreme. We're going to go around the world looking. Unexpected sticker shock hitting California restaurants. Pasta, the humblest dish. So we're in the era of $35 pasta. Those in California shocked at the prices. Although it's handmade pasta, it costs more to make the handmade, takes longer, more hours, paying people more. At least that's the excuse. Oh, plus the farmers, the diesel fuel, the shipping, the gas, and then you have to run the restaurant with the electricity, insurance, and workers' comp, and that is so expensive. Or they're raising the prices for those who can afford it. It must be excellent cuisine. And talking about the coffee last week, doubling in price anywhere that you can buy coffee pretty much in the United States. We were looking for substitutes, and that was my request. Throw me some substitutes for coffee in the video that I was asking for. So here's one for you. Cherry leaf, black currant leaves, strawberry leaves, grape leaves, and peach leaves. If you ferment them first, like the raspberry leaves, they can be reminiscent of black tea, so you might want to look for a substitute of some sort of fruit or herbal or flower teas. So you'll need to study each individual type of tree leaf that you have around your area. I was talking about coffee and then the substitute for yerba mate, but yerba mate was 3 times more than coffee. So we're at that point now where people are going to start like picking leaves off the trees in their front yard or their neighbor's yard so they can make tea because it becomes too expensive. We really have a problem that nobody is addressing right now. Why is it continuously more and more expensive when we're supposed to be producing more and more food? Tariffs only explain away a little bit of it. So there's something else behind the curve here, so let's take a look what it might be. And if you thought rocks could swim, I didn't know they could either. Well, I guess if there's enough water and force behind it, you can make anything move. Shocking to see this many giant... Any one of those would almost be too much for somebody to handle without a crowbar. Then I thought, okay, I started looking for other rock slide videos, and here's one that just absolutely puts it in perspective. The size of these, they're not even boulders. These are just slabs of granite off the mountain. That's literally, for me, impossible to do that. But, you know, look at the power of nature, the small stream, and how much can be carried downstream. But here in Tennessee, with the massive rains we've had, floods are pouring through our valleys. And this is the Devil's Hole, completely free of rocks, debris, and look how clean and pure it's become. Over 25 years or so, it completely almost filled in, and nature washed it right back out. Funny how nature has a cleansing effect on things. Pyroclastic flow, fuego. This will keep extending the boundaries as well. I mean, these are very small but incredibly dangerous flows. You would not want to be anywhere close to that. But you can see how far on the right or the left that flow has extended. It hasn't really broken that boundary yet. But we saw the same thing with Kilauea here on this fire hose fountain lava splitting with a fork tongue. Nobody expected that either. That was so far out of what was expected in terms of how far something can extrude. And from different angles, it just gives you a taste of how ferocious nature can become. And what we set as boundaries can easily be overwhelmed. Because it does seem there's a lot more pressure in the crust pushing magma through the openings, i.e. volcanoes in the vents. Across the planet, there is an uptick in ferocity and pressures. Well-known saying on Wall Street, sell in May and go away. This year, even the big players are echoing that sentiment. Bank of America and UBS are both urging caution, advising investors to sell the rally. Markets are still struggling to regain their footing. We've seen over $11 trillion in wealth erased from U.S. equities, and the broader economic outlook remains uncertain. Historically, periods like this have often led to increases in central bank intervention, which more often than not means more money printing and a weaker dollar. In uncertain environments, one asset has shown remarkable resilience over thousands of years: physical gold. And Goldman Sachs is projecting a possible rise to $4,000 an ounce by 2026. If you're looking for stability in turbulent times, owning physical gold can offer a level of diversification and protection that paper assets simply can't. Here's the next step. Call Monetary Gold at 1-888-570-2636. Ask how you can hold gold in a tax advantage IRA and what incentives they have today. Again, that's 1-888-570-2636. And tell them ADAPT 2030 sent you. And staying with volcanoes, let's jump up to Mars for a second. Oh, Odyssey orbiter captured a stunning view. Olympus Mons dwarfs the tallest ones on Earth like the Himalaya. But notice how the dust and ice clouds change over seasons. I thought there wasn't even supposed to be an atmosphere up there. At least that was what I was taught as a kid. There was no water, no atmosphere, and here they are showing us clouds enveloping the tallest peak on Mars. So here a perspective for you. It's 69,000, some say 72,000 feet. And the tallest what we have here on Earth, Mount Everest, is 29,000 feet. So substantially taller, more than double. Remember as kids what we were taught, and go back 40 years, and some of you even older, go back 50 years in our school education. Everything is changing all the time. So everything we learned previously about what was rock solid truth is continually changing as science disproves it or goes more granular or further into the study, whether it be macro or micro down in. The smaller we see it, the smaller we can look, the more detail there is, and we discover entire different layers. But I was absolutely told that there was no atmosphere. It's a dead planet, nothing, no magnetic field, not even a wisp of cloud that could be harvested. And now the clouds appear. Or maybe that's solar activity driven. Should we continue to talk about that? Oh no, I'm moving over to Europe. Particularly dangerous situation, elevated risk. You can see the colors right there. Bullseye over Romania. Size of the hail coming down. This forecast is for real. This is day 1 out of 3. And the lightning accompanying that. Best to stay in a dolmen if you're going to be close in on those ground strikes. And back over here in the U.S., the amount of unusual clouds through the systems this last week or two is even stunning those that do it for a living. Storm chasing, the updrafts, the clouds, the see-through, the poke-throughs. In other words, they're seeing things they've never seen before, haven't photographed before happening. Something's definitely ticked up. So here's a wildfire for you. British Columbia intentionally lit to try to backflow into and meet the fire that's coming toward it. Roads closed, obviously, up through there. You can't drive. And here's your smoke forecast. Milligrams per cubic meter of air. The higher it goes, obviously in the red, the more particulate there is. Now, it's interesting how it just cuts off. We can't get all the way into BC to see that flow. But if we do look at GOES here, you can see where the smoke is. Right over, it looks like tip of the Great Lakes. Alberta's smoked in. Ontario getting the smoke. There's an enormous amount of warnings happening about staying inside. And speaking of warnings, this should be a warning from us for nature. Bird's nests made of fiber optic cables. This comes from the Ukraine, and it looks like nature is able to integrate, at least in some fashion, the discarded ordnance over there. And the reason I wanted to connect this is the fields where they're going to be planting wheat. You can't really do that with all the fiber optics in there. It'll get all gummed up in the machine, definitely twist. You're going to be, I know they're fragile, but at that kind of density going through and trying to plow that under, A, it's going to be in the soil forever, but B, it's going to get clogged in the machinery for sure. And a quote of the day here, not all storms come to disrupt your life. Some come to clear your path. But it can't be explaining away everything that has happened over the last 5 years to a decade in the workup to where we sit right now. We're absolutely at a monumental moment in history here of change from the old world into this new world. We've already stepped into this new world, and it's forming in its sort of etheric phase before it solidifies into something that is iron bars in front of us. Now, to get us out of this, we were supposed to be using cryptocurrency to break free of the monetary system, but that has been usurped already and taken under control of, well, the financial institutions of the planet to control it. And you'll have access to it But again, you'll be required to go through so many steps to get it for the bedrock to protect yourself financially if AI rolls in, takes over everything, puts 50% of the human workforce out of work. We move to universal basic income. You'll need to grow some of your own food, of course. But access to that system is going to require a lot more hoops and hurdles. That's what I'm saying. Is this clearing our way here? This awakening, the awareness, the new vibration pattern coming in? Or is this leading us up cliffs? So I thought I'd leave you with a way to get some rust off of a bolt. Take some wire cutters, run it back and forth on the drill, and voila, you have clean threads. Now, I don't know how good that is for the wire stripper on the back there, but in a pinch. And I do hope you got something out of the video. Please remember to join us over on TikTok. We are up to 4,400 subscribers there, and we're trying to get to 5,000 so we could broadcast live. Bringing more information just like this. I appreciate your time so much. Thank you for staying with me. Please share with your friends, families, subscribe, and like to help the algorithm. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.